Hey guys, Cole here. I'm back with Code Louisville's Pet Store 2 exercise, and let's jump right in. The first task says we are going to add a new class to handle our product functionality. Add a new class called Product Logic. Again, going to the project, add new item, pick a class, and that class is going to be named Product Logic. And again, I like to have mine public. Step 2 says, in this class, add a new private variable called products of type list products. Remember to add an underscore before the name because it's a private variable. So if the underscore before the name because it's a private variable doesn't make sense to you, I don't think you should worry about that right now. Focus on understanding why the code works. This is just a naming convention that makes it easier to read across multiple programmers. It's simply just kind of like a standard practice versus a functionality thing. But remember, when we declare a variable, we need the access type, which I'm just call access, the data type, which I'll just call type, and the name. So this is going to be a private, and it says the type is list products, and it's going to be called underscore products. For step 3, it says create a constructor for the class, and in that constructor, create a new instance of the list class. So what is a constructor? Well, let's look at what we had previously. In the program.cs, we see that when we create a new variable, dog leash named leash equals new dog leash, these parentheses here means it's calling a function. Well, if we go to dog leash, we don't see any function here. Why is that? Constructors are a function in a class that is the same name as the class itself, and they have to be public. So for example, it's public, and then the name of this class is Product Logic, so the name of the constructor has to be Product Logic. By default, if a constructor is not specified, it will just be empty like this. So you could think of dog leash as having this public dog leash constructor that gets called right here. So I'm not going to save this. That is a constructor, but what does a constructor really do? It just is a list or a set of commands that gets executed when a instance is created of a specific class. And for this example, it's a prime candidate to explain why it's useful. When we specify that the product logic has a private variable products that is a list of products, we can't actually use products until we initialize it. And initializing and instantiating are two very different things. So if you don't understand the difference between those, feel free to reach out to me and I can go over that. But the underscore products needs to be set to a new list of product before it can be used. So I've seen a lot of people get confused about why this line is necessary and why lines like dog leash leash equals new dog leash are necessary. So I'm going to try to explain it using a less complicated example as an analogy. So let's make a function doesn't really matter what it is. And we will give it a integer. Actually, let's do this. Let's make this int area of square. So we have an integer width and an integer height. If we wanted to get the area, we can't just define width or declare width and declare height and then just say area equals width times height. This doesn't work. And it's even giving us an error because width and height are not defined to anything yet. We would have to first do maybe width equals 5 and height equals 7. Now that gets rid of our errors. It's the exact same thing for, do I have? Miss an equal sign here. There we go, that'll fix my problem. Okay, so it's the exact same thing for any other variable. You can just think of this integer as the data type and this list products as the data type. Before we can do anything with the variable underscore products, we have to first assign it to something. So let's just put it right underneath. If we have a list of products, it's just product, there we go, list of products, test list equals new list product. It's the exact same thing. So first we have the data type, variable name, equal sign, and initial value is new list products. If we didn't have this, and we tried to use test list.add, well, it's going to give us an error because we don't know what test list actually is. We know what type it is, but it doesn't have initial value. Is it a full list? Is it an empty list? Is it a partially created list? That's not defined. So just like how we use common variables, we have to define them first. We have to define complex variables and classes as well. And it uses the constructor whenever we create a blank, empty object of that. So hopefully seeing these two side by side will help you remember why this is important and remember the syntax required. Okay, so I'm going to delete this test area of square we just went over. Step 4 is create a new function / method, which function and method are kind of interchangeable in the programming language. Some languages use function as their primary word, some use method, but as programmers, you kind of dabble between languages that use both. So as programmers, it's pretty interchangeable because you get used to using both. So create a new function / method called addProduct. And again, what do we need? We need the access type. So this is going to be public. And we know the name is addProduct. But what is the return type? it says it should have no return type, so return void. Perfect. Add product and accept one argument called product. An argument is simply a value that is passed in within the parentheses of a function, and you can remember that if you forget, because let's say right here we have the first one is our access type, access, and then we have our type, and then name. And so you know what these three variables are, so then an argument has to be, it's only what's left is what can be inside the parentheses. So it's going to accept one argument called product, and that should be of type product. And we see how the first product is capitalized, and it is that greenish teal. That means it is a class. And the second one is that light blue, lowercase. That is the name of the variable. If it helps you, we can put this as like new product. So that way, in your mind, they're not the same word. If that helps you at all. So I'm going to do that just because it might help some. So this method should look like this, and it just tells you. Oh, it tells you what the call to it should look like, but not what's inside of it. Step 5 says in the method, use the underscore product variable dot add method to add the method's argument to the private list. So the method's argument, remember, is this. So I'm going to use that. I'm going to add the new product to the list products that I have previously. So let's say right after the constructor was called, products will equal a new list of product. Therefore, it'll be a blank, empty list. And the first time this add product method is called, it will add the new product to an empty list of products. If that is confusing, you can reach out to me and we can go through examples and see how it actually works step by step. Step 6 says, next create another method called getAllProducts. So it's public getAllProducts, and we need a return type. And it says that this method's return type will be listProduct. All right. Do we have any arguments? It says, and we'll have no arguments. Perfect. This method will be really simple. All you have to do is return our private variable, return products, underscore products. Beautiful. Step 7 says back in our program class, which is here, we're going to create an instance of our new product logic. Make it a variable at the top of the file under the using statements. And it uses a var. I personally don't like the use of vars. I like to be very explicit, so I'm going to do it that way. If you like to use vars, though, feel free, go ahead. But it is going to be product logic type. And again, I'm going to name it something different. Just I'm going to name it logic. That way, mentally separate it. Equals new product logic. Step 8 says replace the line where we are serializing the product that the user is creating with the add product method and pass the product the user created into the method. So remember from exercise 1, I did not use the serialization method. I created a string format. So it's talking about this here. So I'm gonna delete this, and don't worry, it's not gone forever because I used git. I can go back and find that code for any time I want, but if you're concerned about version control, if you're not using good version control, which I highly recommend, you could do something like just comment it out. That's one way you can keep your code, but a cleaner solution is simply yes to use version control and delete your lines. So now it wants me to do the call the add product method. So the logic is my variable name that is of the class product logic, and I'll do the add product leash. That's all it's looking for here. Step 9 is nice and simple. It just says, after adding the product, add a nice message below it to let the user know the product was added. So that's just a console write line. I'm just going to copy this one. A little easier. Your new product has been added. Voila. So step 10, it says our next major thing to add will be some dictionaries to hold our specific types of products. So back in the product logic file, add 2 more private variables, which will be up here, private variables. The first will be of type dictionary string dog leash. And the second will be a dictionary string cat food. And it lets us name these. So I'm going to name this dictionary dog and dictionary cat. In step 11, it says now in the add product method, which is here, add an if statement. Its condition will check for the type of object. If it's a dog leash, it will be added to the dog leash dictionary. If it's a cat food object, it will be added to the cat food dictionary. The key will be the product's name value, so the statement will look like this. All right, so let's just do that now. So if the new product is dog leash, it'll do something. Let's say add to dictionary dog. And let's do an else if new product is cat food, add to dictionary cat. So before I move on, let's kind of explain how this works. How can this argument be of different types? Well, we know that both cat food and dog leash inherit from the product class. Therefore, both cat food and dog leash qualify as a product. So a dog leash and a cat food can be passed as a new product because it is both a dog leash and a product, and the cat food is both a cat food and a product. We will distinguish then what type of product it is in these lines. And if that doesn't make sense, again, like always, feel free to reach out to me and we can go over that in more detail. Step 12 says we're now actually going to add these values to the dictionaries. So inside of the if statement, use the correct dictionaries add method to add the product to it. So if it is a dog leash, we're going to use a dog dictionary. And when we type in the parentheses, it reminds us we need a string and a dog leash value. So the string is going to be the name. So new product dot name. And the dog leash is going to be the new product. But that won't work by itself. You see, it even gives us this error because it can't implicitly convert from product to dog leash. So it's a real simple fix. We just say as dog leash, telling it, hey, just do the conversion. Now we're going to do this again for the cat food. New product name. And then, well, it's just going to try to do it for me. No need to type more than you have to. If you see IntelliSense giving you what you want, just hit tab. Makes your life way easier. Step 14 says add another method called getDogLeashByName. Let's do that now. It's going to be public. The data type is going to be dog leash, or the return type, and the name is getDogLeashByName. What arguments does it have? It will take one string argument called name. There we go. And what's it going to do? This is step 15. It says this method will use an indexing brackets, which are these, to use a name key being passed in to return the object with that key in the dictionary. That will look something like this. And it just tells us. So we don't have to worry too much about that. We can practice it later. Return dictionary dog leash name. Done. Now step number 16 is a big one. It says back in the program class, add a new option for the user. It will be option number 2. Okay, let's do that. Just say else if user input equals 2. Okay. And we'll let them get a specific object out of the list. Since they're only adding a dog leash right now, we're going to just let them view a dog leash as well. Use option number 1 as a template for what you need to do right now, and only use the solution when you get stuck. Not sure what that means, but let's just work through it. So we know we have the values stored in this logic. So we can do logic dot get dog leash by name, but we need a name. Oh crap, how do we get that? Let's just do user input for now. But now we realize, okay, we need to ask them for a name. So console.writeLine, specify a dog leash you would like to view. Oh, put a period instead of colon because it's the right line. And then user input equals console read line. So now after this, the user input should be a name that we would like to see. Okay, so we would like to show them what they've seen. So I just talked earlier in the program about how I deleted this line that was printing off the dog leash. So I went to my version control and got it back. And it's going to be this. But we don't have leash defined in here because leash is defined only within this if. So line number 40 returns a value of a dog leash. I'm going to declare a dog leash named leash and assign it to the value of what we get. Just like how I had in here. Beautiful. So now the only thing we need to do is tell the users that they can view a product. So press 2 to view a product. Now step 17, all it says we need to do is run it. So let's do that now. We run it, press 1 to add a product, 1, name it Cole's Leash. It's going to be $20. We're going to have 50 of them. Description is the best dog leash you'll ever own. Material type is leather. I'm going to make it 70 inches. Oh, seem to have a problem. What's this? System null reference exception. Object reference is not set to an instance of an object. Dictionary dog was null. Oh no. Okay, well this is an easy fix. It's a perfect example. We even talked about this earlier in the lesson. I'm trying to use the dictionary dog before I'm setting it to anything. That's the whole section I talked about with the area of a square or rectangle. I need to do this. Dictionary dog equals new dictionary string dog leash. Now let's see if this fixes it. Run it again. Press 1 to add a product. Cole's dog leash. 20, 50, the best dog leash you'll ever own. It's going to be leather, 70 inches. Perfect. So now let's press 2 to view a product. Specify the dog leash you like to view. Cole's dog leash. And there, it gives us all the information that we want. Perfect. Now we can exit to finish the program. And that is the second assignment. Again, like always, if you have any questions, let me know. Thanks, guys.